Hi guys, welcome back to ladensercrotchets. In this tutorial we're making a patchwork skirt, which is a maxi skirt. You can make it either as a maxi, a midi skirt, or a mini skirt. The choice is all yours. You can choose whatever size of the skirt you want to make or whatever length you want. And for this skirt I'm using these 6 different shades, that is blue, hot pink, jungle green, brown, purple, and for the gray I'll be undoing some unfinished work that I've had for a while now. Then I'm going to use a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. I'll need a pair of scissors, a measuring tape, a darning needle. I cannot see mine right now, it's right here. A darning needle. Then you're going to need stitch markers, as many as possible. So grab your materials and let's get into the tutorial. You need the following measurements. The waist, I'm working a waist of 30, hips of 44, and full length of 40, and these are in inches. So to start off, you take your waist measurement, subtract 2 inches. When I do, I'll get 28. Then take whatever you've gotten here, in my case 28, and divide it by 4, and this will give you 7. So the width of one of the panels, the width will be 7 inches when slightly stretched. When you're working the width, you stretch. So like in this case, mine is at 5, almost 6. When I stretch, it gets me to 7. So once you get the 7 inches, we are going to have a total of 4 panels that will be worked the same. That is, I've already worked 3 of these. So there is 1, 2, and 3. These 3, and then we're going to have 2 panels that will go to the hip part, and those panels are the ones that are represented by the 2 inches that we've subtracted here. So to work the 2 panels that start with something that is triangular, you're going to start with the 2 inches, and then we're going to increase to achieve the hip measurement. So now I'm going to work the 4 panels, or I'll show you how to work just one of them, then I'll let you work the 4, and then I'll come back to show you how to achieve the hip measurement while working the other 2 panels in order to get a total of 6. I hope this is making sense. If it's not, it's going to make sense as we move along. So let me show you what I've done so far. This is the first panel that I started with, and I'm working with a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 shades. I know it may look weird, but I had a lot of yarn sitting around and I just started to pull it together. I don't know how the outcome will look like, but I'm hoping it is something that will be likable, lovable, and I hope it will turn out nice, but I'm sure it will. If you want a shorter skirt, you can work a shorter one, a mid-length, or a mini. I'm working mine as a maxi. That's why I'm using a total length of 40. So now the first panel was this. I started with the green, followed by this other color, which is brown, I guess. Now when you're starting the second panel, you start with the second color that you worked on the first. So the second on the first is the first on the second. I hope that's making sense, so that we create this pattern. So we have the green, the brown. Now the second panel will start with the brown, followed by the third color that was on the first. Then the third is this one that is triangular, and we start with the second color of the second panel, which is the purple, then the gray. Then the one that follows will be rectangular, and we are starting with this, which is the gray. We are starting with the gray, and that means my 5th panel will start with the blue, followed by the pink, then the green, the brown, the purple, and then the gray will go to the bottom. So let me show you how to work the 5th panel and the 6th. So as you can see, the first 2 are rectangular panels, the 3rd is triangular on top, the 4th is rectangular, the 5th will also be rectangular, then the 6th will be triangular. So I'll start with the blue for the 5th panel. This is how the colors for my 5th panel will follow each other, because this was the 4th. I'm starting with the blue. It's not actually the same shade, but I'm mixing the colors. I had a lot of yarns sitting around and I want to get rid of them. Then we have, this is how that is the order in which I'll use the colors. Now some of the yarns are medium weight, like this one. The others are lightweight. Now for the medium weight, I'll just use 1 strand. For the light yarn, like this one, this was robin yarn, I'll be doubling the strands, like I'll be using two of these together in order to achieve the medium effect. These ones are seagull. They are also lightweight, so I'll also be doubling the strands. Now let's begin. This 7 inches is our reference point and the length of our starting chain. So if you got 8, you're going to chain until you get a length of 8. If you got 6, you'll chain until you get a length of 6. I have my 2 strands double because, like I've mentioned, this is lightweight and we need to double to achieve the medium weight. Then we begin with a slip knot. And in order to get 7 inches, I chained 20 chains. So I start with a chain of 20. We can confirm that length by measuring. So from here, when not stretched, it goes up to around 6 point something. When I stretch, it's going to 7 inches. We begin row 1 by blocking off the 20th chain. So hold it like this and chain 1 more, yarn over, insert your hook into that last 20th chain or the chain that you're holding and grab a loop. To get 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all the 3 to complete a half double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain and do a half double crochet there. Yarn over, go into the next chain, place a half double crochet and place 1 half double crochet into all the chains till you get to the end. At the end of the first row, I'll have a total of 20 half double crochets. I'm in the last chain where I'll place my last half double crochet, and that's the end of row 1. Then chain 1 and turn to begin row 2. We begin row 2 in the first stitch and we place 1 half double crochet into that stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and 1 half double crochet into all the stitches for a total of 20 half double crochets. This right here is my last stitch and I'll place my last half double crochet there. So be careful not to miss the last stitch, and to make sure of that, count your stitches if you're not too sure about the last stitch. We chain 1 and turn to begin row 3, and row 3 is the same as row 2, so we are working a 1 row repeat. We are repeating row 2 until we get a total of 20 rows. Right now I'm in row 3. I'll work row 3, 4 up to 20, then I'll get back once I have my 20 rows and show you how to do, or what to do next, or how to attach the next color, because after the 20 rows we are going to cut off the yarn and do the next shade. I'm done with the 20 rows, and at the end I'll chain 1 and cut off the yarn, pull through and fasten, then turn my work to this side, and then I'll grab the next color, insert my hook into the first stitch, then grab the second color and connect it with a slip stitch like this. I'm going to work over this end and the blue end. Then at that point I'll chain 1 and go back into that very first stitch with a half double crochet, and as I do that I'm working over the ends like I've mentioned. Then work a half double crochet into the next stitch, and work 1 half double crochet into all the stitches till you get to the end. This is row 1 of the second color, and we're also going to work 20 rows with this color. So that's row 1 after placing 1 half double crochet into each of the stitches. Then at the end, chain 1 and turn to begin row 2. Work in the first stitch and then work 1 half double crochet into all the 20 stitches or 15, whatever number you're working with. So each of the stitch will get 1 half double crochet, and I'm going to work 20 rows with this pink color. I'm done with the second color, the 20 rows, and I'm going to measure this to see the length that we have right now. When you're measuring the length, you don't stretch. So when I measure without stretching, I'm at 13.5. So I'll keep working more of these patches. This is the first. I'll work a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 patches with the 20 rows. Then the last patch, which is the 6th, will only have 10 rows, and that will get me to a length of 38. I'm working a full length of 40, and the 2 inches will represent the ribbon of the skirt. Therefore, I'm working 38, and then I'll attach the ribbon at the end to get me to 40. My next color is a lightweight yarn, and therefore I'm doubling the strands. Then I'll just reconnect it the same way I connected the second, and work the 20 rows and keep going till I get to my length, my total length. So just turn your work, insert your hook into the first stitch, grab the color that you're working with and pull it through to slip stitch, and then we chain 1 at the beginning, chain 1, work over the ends, go back into that first stitch and place 1 half double crochet and 1 half double crochet into all the other stitches to the end for a total of 20. Then work the 20 rows with the green yarn. I'm done with that panel, and I'm going to show you the full measurement that I have right now. So from the top, all the way down, I'm at 38. Like I mentioned, I'm working 40, and is the 2 inches that will be covered by the waist measurement. So now, together with these other three, that makes 4 panels, and these 4, each of them has a width of 7, which means they only get me to my waist measurements, which is 7 multiplied by 4, which is 28, and the 2 inches will be covered by the 2 panels that will go to the hip part. I've already worked one of them, and this is 1 inch at the top. Then I start increasing to achieve the hip measurement, and I'm supposed to do 2 of these. So I've done 1. Now I'm going to show you how to do the other one. Consider your hip measurement. Mine is 44, and subtract the waist measurement that you've already worked, which is 28 in my case. When I subtract the 2, I'm going to get 16. Yeah, 16. Now this 16 that you're getting is the length that is remaining, not the length, but the width that is remaining in order to achieve the hip measurement. Now you're going to take the 16 and divide it by 2, and that should give you 8, which means when you start working from the top, you'll be increasing, and you're going to increase until you get this. So we're going to work 2 panels, one that will get you to 8, another one will also get you to 8. This was the last panel that I did, and that means the one that I'm working next should start with the pink, because the pink is the second one in this panel, then followed by green, brown, purple, gray, and then the last one will be the blue. Like I mentioned, you can connect your colors however you want. Now begin with a slip knot for the hip part now, and then we're going to chain 2. That will be the starting chain. Then block off the second chain and chain 1 more. Yarn over, insert your hook into that second chain and place a half double crochet there. Yarn over and do a half double crochet into the second stitch, which is the last stitch right there. And that's our row 1. Then chain 1 and turn to begin row 2. Now we begin increasing on the first stitch and the last stitch. So in this very first stitch, we're going to place 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2. Then into the next one, 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2. So in row 2, you should have a total of 4 half double crochets. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 3. Row 3 is a non-increase row, so we're not increasing in any stitch. We're just placing 1 half double crochet into each of the stitches for a total of 4 stitches. So into this first one, half double crochet, then the next one, half double crochet, that is 2. Then we have the third one, and we have the fourth one right here. That's row 3, chain 1 and turn to begin row 4. Row 4 is going to be an increased row at the beginning and at the end. So 2 half double crochets into the first stitch, 1 half double crochet into the stitch that follows, 1 half double crochet next, we're in the last stitch, so that one gets 2 half double crochets. That's row 4, chain 1 and turn to begin row 5. Row 5, just like row 3, has no increase, so 1 stitch to get a total of 6. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 6. Row 6 is an increase row, so the even rows have an increase at the beginning and at the end. The odd rows do not have an increase. Now we're going to keep on increasing like this until you get I'll do that until I get my 8 inches. If you've gotten 5, you'll increase until you get 5. So this is the end of row 6, and I'll put an increase at the last stitch, chain 1. Now let me keep increasing and I'll be back. Now this next row, which is row 7, has no increase. I'll let you know how many increases I'll do to get to my 8 inches. When working in this color, ensure that you're working a total of 20 rows and not more than that or not less than that. Right now I'm in row 8 and I'll keep going. I've done my increase up to the 20th row and I'm done with the pink yarn, so I'm just going to chain 1 and cut off the yarn, pull through and fasten. Then I'm going to measure the width of that triangle, and when I stretch it out it gets me to 8, which is exactly what I want. And at this point I have a total of 22 stitches, and that's what I'm going to work with till I get to the bottom of this panel. So for each panel, for each color, I'll work 22 stitches for 20 rows, just like I did with the other one. So the only difference is on the top part, which we have already done. Now I'm going to connect the green. So I'll connect the yarn in the first stitch, pull it through, chain 1 and go back into that stitch with just 1 half double crochet. Then I'll place 1 half double crochet into each of the stitches for a total of 22. Then I'll keep going with the rows till I get 20 rows of the green. After that I'll connect the next color and then I'll keep going till I get the length of my panel, and once I'm done I'll be back. Then I'll show you how to connect all the 6 panels together to get the skirt. So now I have my 6 panels. These are the 4 panels. They are the ones that are in the middle. And then the 2 panels that have a triangle on top are on the sides. And that is how my pieces fit into each other. So I'm just going to pull out these ones that are on top, and I'll join the bottom pieces first. Then after that I'll join the upper pieces. I've not arranged these pieces well. Let me see. So right here we have the pink, the green. So that's the next one. Then here we're supposed to have the one that starts with the pink. right here. The one that starts with, I'm getting confused. Yeah, this one should be the next one. Then we have this that's folding in like that. So we have the upper ones, these ones, and this. Now I'll just do away with this, put them aside, and then I'll join these ones first. So you can start wherever, but make sure that you're not starting with the front part, because we're going to leave a slit for the front part. Now I'll begin with this corner one, followed, I'll join this and this, and I'll begin from, you can begin from the bottom or from the top. I'll begin from here, and from this part to this part, I'll join with this color. So let me get stitch markers and pin my pieces together. So I'll just pin to the top. So using this color, you can either use the darning needle or you can attach using single crochets. And I'll use single crochets because I feel like when I'm sewing the pieces together, it takes so much time, and using the single crochets is faster. So now I'll get this yarn, connect it on the first row at the bottom, and then get the first row of the other piece, slip stitch the yarn to connect. So we are working on the rows, and then chain one. Then I'll bring the ends like this so that I can work over them, and I'm going to use this color till I get to this point where that color ends. So in that first row, I'm going to place one single crochet, then I'll go into the second row on this side and the second row on the other side, and in that second row I'll place two single crochets. Then into the third row on this side and the third row on the other side, place one single crochet. In the fourth row and the fourth row on the other side, we place two single crochets, one and two. In the row that follows, we place one single crochet, two single crochets into the next row, and now we're just going to keep on alternating between a single crochet and two single crochets. So one row will get one single crochet, the next row will get two. When we get to the stitch marker, we pull it out. Then continue to this other stitch marker. These ends are already weaved in, so I can cut them off. I'm in the last row of the brown color, and there, right there, I'm placing 2 single crochets, chain 1, and cut off the yarn. So now this is what we have on the right side. Perfect, isn't it? Now for the next 2 pieces, these two, I'm going to use the pink. Now what I do is I reconnect the yarn on top of the last single crochet that I've done previously. So right here, I'm going to slip stitch the yarn there. Then I'll leave this yarn behind so that I can weave it in on this side. After slip stitching on top of that single crochet, we're going to go into the first row of this pink row and the first row of the other side and do 1 single crochet, because previously we had done 2. Then I'm working over this hot pink end. Then into the next, I'll do 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet next, 2 single crochets next, and I'll keep going till I get to the end where we have the last row of the hot pink. I'm in the last row of the hot pink, so I'll chain 1 and cut off the yarn, pull through and fasten. This is what we have so far on the right side. Then now for the last part, we're going to use the gray, because we have the gray here and here. Pull out the stitch marker on top of the last single crochet that I've done. I'll slip stitch there. Then start in the first row of the gray, place 2 single crochets, because my previous was just 1 single crochet into the row. So I'll place 2 single crochets. The next one will get 1 single crochet. I'm working over the gray yarn, then I'm leaving the pink one to weave it in on the other side. Now I'll keep joining to the top. So those two pieces are joined. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. Now we move on to the next piece and we're going to pin them same way we've pinned the previous two, and then just join. For the first part, the first two pieces, this one and this, I'm going to join with the purple. Then the next ones, I'll join with brown. Then the next ones I'll join with green, then pink, then blue. So now I'll go on, join all these pieces till I've joined this one, and then I'll come back and show you how to join the front pieces. I'm done attaching the back panels and the side panels, these ones that are folding like this. Then the two front panels, I've connected them in the middle and they should be attached right there. Now the reason why I left them like that is because I want to have a slit. So you can determine the side that you want the slit. I want mine to be on this side, and this goes to the right leg. If you attach it on the other side, it will be on the left leg. So now I'm going to measure the length of my skirt from the waist up to where I want the slit to be, and I want mine to be at this 14-inch mark. So I'm going to only attach this part up to the second patch. So I'll just turn my work like this, then I'll start connecting from this point to the top. The other part will remain like that. If I feel that like the slit is too long, I'll continue attaching, but at the moment I'll attach from here to the top. Now I'll just pin my pieces together. So now beginning from here, I'll use the purple yarn. I begin from this row. And the row on the other side. Slip stitch the yarn and chain one. Then go back into that row with a single crochet. The second row will get 2 single crochets. The third will get 1 single crochet, and then I'll just connect with single crochets to the top. At the top we chain one and cut off the yarn. And now this is what we're going to have. We have the slit right there. So then we need to connect this other side all the way to the top. So I'll just turn my skirt to the wrong side. Then pin my panels and connect. I'll be back once I've connected this side. I have all the pieces joined, and I'm just going to weave in the ends and then turn my skirt to the right side. Once I've turned my skirt to the right side, this is what I have. And now I'm going to do an edging on the slit part, starting from the bottom. And it's going to be a single crochet edging. I'll use a single color. I'll use the jungle green yarn. So I'll attach it in the very first row. We are working on the rows. So I'll reconnect the yarn into that first row with a slip stitch, chain 1, go back into that row with a single crochet. Then into the next row, I'll place 2 single crochets. In the third row, I'll do 1 single crochet. In the fourth row, I'll do 2 single crochets. One single crochet into the next row, 2 single crochets into the row that follows, 1 single crochet next, and this is a pattern that we're going to repeat until we get to the top part of the slit. So I'll just keep going with the single crochets, 1 into one row, 2 into the following row. Keep going with the rows, and I'll meet you at the top part of the slit so that I can show you what to do next. I'm doing my last single crochet, and then at that point I'll just turn. I'm not going to place a stitch at the point of connection of the panels. I'll skip that part where we connected the panels, and then I'll skip over to the other side and start on the first row on the other side of the slit. So that point of connection is skipped, and I'll just go on now to the second row on the other side and place 2 single crochets, then 1 single crochet into the next row, and then I'll continue all the way to the bottom part of the skirt, and I'll meet you there so that we do the edging at the bottom part. I'm coming to the end of that edging on the bottom part of the skirt, just ensuring that I'm placing 2 single crochets and alternating with 1 single crochet. In the last row, I'm going to place my last single crochet right there, and then I'll do 2 more single crochets into the same row, and that will turn me to the bottom part of the skirt. So the slit part is done. Now we start working the edging on the bottom part, and we're going to be working in between the stitches. So in between the first half double crochet and the second, a single crochet. In between the next 2 half double crochets, place a single crochet, and then I'll place a single crochet into all the stitches, but we are working in between the stitches. Once we get to the point where we connected the panels, we're going to skip that part and work in between the next 2 half double crochets with a single crochet. So you're not placing a stitch at the point of connection. You just keep in that point, and then I'll go on all the way around to the end where I reconnected the yarn, and I'll meet you there and show you how to complete the edging. I'm coming to the end of that edging at the bottom part of the skirt, and in the last stitch I'm going to place my last single crochet there so that we have two of them, then slip stitch onto the first single crochet that I did and chain one, then cut off the yarn at that point and then pull it through and fasten. Then I'm going to get my darning needle and I'm going to weave in that end, and the edging on the slit and the bottom part of the skirt is done. Now we're going to work the ribbing on the waistband. After that edging, this is how my skirt looks like. So now I'll just turn to the waist part. Now this waist part, you really don't need the ribbing, but if you do, I'm going to show you how to work the ribbing. Because we worked with the waist measurements, then this waist fits onto your waist. All you will need is a simple strap to draw it together so that it fits perfectly. But let's work the ribbing. Start with a slip knot. You can connect the yarn at any point on the top part of the skirt. Make sure you're working in between the stitches like we did at the bottom part, and then you're going to chain 8. Right now I'm chaining 8. I think I've chained more, so I'll just confirm my stitches. So I have the 8, which will give me the 2 inches that I had left out. Then we're going to block off the last chain and chain one more, then go into that 8th chain and work a slip stitch, then into the next chain work another slip stitch, then a slip stitch into all the stitches. So for a slip stitch, you insert your hook into the chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, then pull it through the loop that was on the hook. Insert your hook into the chain, pull up a loop and pull it through. So I'm going to work a total of 8 slip stitches. If you want to do the ribbing with single crochets, then I would advise that you use a smaller hook, like a 3mm crochet hook instead of the 3.5. I'm done with the first row. So now to complete it, we slip stitch onto the next gap in between the stitches, slip stitch onto that gap, then slip stitch into the next gap. So you do 2 slip stitches on this side and then turn. Once you turn, you're going to work in the back loops. So the first back loop, insert your hook, pull up a loop and complete the slip stitch. Then work a total of 7 slip stitches in the back loop. In the last stitch, we work both loops. We're not going to work in the back loop. You insert your hook in the both loops and do the last slip stitch, chain 1 and turn to begin row 3. In row 3, we're going to work all the stitches in the back loop, starting with the first one. So into that back loop, pull up a loop and slip stitch. Then do this for a total of 8 stitches. Once we get into the last stitch, we're going to slip stitch onto the rows in between the stitches. So into that gap, I'll do the first slip stitch. Then I'll do a second slip stitch into the next gap. And then turn. And we're going to do row 4 the same way we worked row 2. That is slip stitches for a total of 7. Then in the 8th, total of 7 in the back loop. Then in the 8th stitch, we work both loops. But I would advise that you work back loops to the end, because I went on to do this ribbon, and at the end the upper part was too tight. Pulling the skirt over my shoulder to wear it onto my waist was a bit difficult, so I would advise that you work on one loop at the end instead of the both loops like I was working. Also, like I mentioned before I started, you don't really need the ribbon. You can do without it, but if you want to do it, work all the loops or work all the stitches in the back loops. So now I'll just keep repeating the rows until I've attached the ribbon all the way around the skirt, and I'll be back once I'm done. Then I'll show you how to complete that ribbon. For now, keep going with back loop slip stitches in all the stitches around the waist. I'm doing a slip stitch into my last row. Then I'm going to connect these two edges of the ribbon, and I'll do that from the inside part of the skirt. So I've just turned to the inside part, and then I'll chain one, work into the first stitch in the back loop and the first stitch on the other side in the both loops, and I'm going to connect with single crochets. So single crochet right there. Insert your hook into the second back loop and the second both loops on the other side, and then connect with single crochets. Then I'll connect for a total of 8 stitches. After connecting the last stitch, I've chained one, then I'll cut off the yarn and pull through. Then I'm going to weave in that end, and after weaving it in, I'll be done. I'm done with the ribbon and done with the skirt. I hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you have, kindly leave a like, a comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and let's meet in the next tutorial. See you.